There are three critical aspects of turkey cooking that separate an average turkey from a world-class one: how you flavour it, how you cook it, and how you introduce moisture. Techniques like brining and spat cooking work great, but if you want a juicy big old turkey that is really packed with flavour, this method is hard to beat.
That was amazing, mate.
Especially for a bird this big. This is a 10 kilogram or 22 pound bronze turkey. They're known for their deep flavour, crispy dark skin, and high price tag. A bird this fancy deserves the best treatment, so we're going to infuse it with delectable Middle Eastern flavours with the help of an onion marinade. These types of marinades are designed for use on large cuts of meat like lamb legs or whole turkeys. The enzymes in the onions tenderize the meat, breaking down tough proteins and softening the meat for the marinade to penetrate deeper. Just like with a brine, the meat pulls salty liquid in from the marinade, taking with it loads of flavour. So that's both the moisture and flavour covered. All you have to do is nail the cooking, which is really easy with a wireless thermometer like this one. To get started, break out a large food processor and add a whole load of onions. I've used 8, but this bird is so big it could take 2 to 3 more. Add a handful of garlic cloves, and then comes the most important ingredient, the salt. Most recipes tell you to brine your turkey, but instead we'll make the marinade salty like a brine to properly season the meat. Calculate the amount of salt you need based on the weight of your bird. Then, to flavour the marinade, add some black pepper and a large amount of sumac. Its bright, fruity flavours work so well with turkey, and it will even give the bird a reddish colour when cooked. Add some lemon juice to further increase the bright, tangy flavours, and then process it into a fine paste. Now, I forgot to add my thyme, so strip the leaves from the twigs, add them to the mix, and then continue processing until you have a pulpy marinade. This is now ready to infuse the turkey with flavour, but first, we need to do some prep. For the turkey to absorb the marinade, it needs to come into contact with the meat rather than the skin. So glove up, because you're about to get intimate with your bird. Use your hands to separate the skin from the meat until you create a gap on both sides. Then work your hands deeper and deeper into the turkey breasts. Just be careful that you don't tear the skin while you're doing this, because it is quite delicate. And after a couple of minutes, you should have a nice big pocket on each side for the marinade to sit. If you can't reach the end of the breast, you can open up the pocket from the neck side as well. Then do the same thing with the thighs, tracing around the drumsticks with your fingers until you have a good pocket there too. Now it's time to get messy and start packing in the marinade. Use a utensil to distribute it equally into each of the pockets, and then massage it in with your hands to spread it right to the end. Get as much of it in contact with the meat as possible and move it wherever it's needed. Once you've used the majority of the marinade, spread a couple handfuls in the turkey cavity to season it as well. And then finally, rub any leftover marinade over the skin, and then your bird is ready for a nice long marinade. I'm keeping mine in this roasting tray to catch any liquid that might run off it, so just wrap it in some plastic wrap and then move it to your fridge to chill for 2 to 3 days. Whew, gobble gobble everyone. So, this turkey has had 2 whole days in the fridge to absorb the flavours of that marinade. Now, we need this to come up to temperature before we can do anything with it, so I'm going to leave it out of the fridge for a couple of hours. You can really see that the colour of the bird has changed. There's a lot more pink in it, so we're going to have to scrape out all that marinade mix in a bit, and then we'll replace it with a delicious compound butter. Let's get started. Oh, what a big bird. All right, I'm going to set that off to the side. So I'm going to use a whole stick of butter. If you can leave this out from the night before to soften it, do that. But if not, just chuck it in the microwave for 30 seconds on a low heat. It should be nice and soft so that we can work all of our ingredients into it. And in the meantime, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the sound of the rain and the little storm that's going on outside. We're going to make this compound butter super flavorful using all of these aromatics. Let's just check if this butter is soft enough. And as long as you can move it with a spoon, it's ready for your aromatics. You're going to zest 4 lemons, taking just the skin. Make sure though they are unwaxed lemons so that you're not putting some wax into your butter. That's the 4 lemons, and it does look like a lot of zest, but trust me, this is all worth the flavour. Now let's just do a couple of oranges as well. Remember, these have to be unwaxed. Now we can go in with a bunch of thyme, and there's a bunch of garlic cloves as well, which are going to add tons of flavour. We'll season this butter with a good amount of salt, and then you want some spices. So I'm going to go in with an equal amount of black pepper, sumac, and aleppo pepper flakes for a little bit of heat. And then all that's left is just to mix it all together. So this might take a bit of elbow grease, but you should be able to mix it together over a short while and end up with a delicious looking compound butter. And you know the rules. everything needs to be tasted. So yeah, let's just have a little bit of that and see how it is. That has a ridiculous amount of flavour. Right, let's get it into the turkey. So now things are about to get messy. We got to get the marinade out of the turkey because that's already served its purpose and we need to put the butter in there. I want to line the counter with some plastic wrap, put like a little barrier so that any liquid can't dribble out. And then you're going to put the turkey in it and that's where you're going to take all the marinade out. And it's also a good time to glove up if you can. Now we're going to do just what we did before, except the opposite. We're pulling all of the stuffing out. So find it, grab it, slide it against the skin. So just put your hands in there and try and just pull as much of that filling, that's marinade, out of there. So I recommend just putting on some music and going at this for a bit. Get as much of it as you can. Now you might find that the onion is sticking to the breasts or the meat in some places where it's dehydrated. That's perfectly fine. Grab a spatula and you can use that as well to scrape it off. It is a lot more effective at getting rid of the onions in your fingers. And as you can see, it leaves behind all of the flavours that have been absorbed already. Of course, don't forget if you stuffed it from the other side that you'll need to clear that out as well. Now I think I've got everything I can out of that turkey, so I'm just going to move it off to the side and chuck this marinade away. So now that the turkey's clean, we got to prep the tray that it's going to be cooking in. And you want to put some aromatics in the base. As the turkey cooks, its drippings are going to coat those in a delicious layer of flavour. And then we'll take some of the juices that come out of the turkey to make our gravy as well. So I'm just going to get some nice thick slices, which are going to stop our turkey from sticking to the tray or sticking to anything else. I'm just going to go in with my sliced shallots. If you don't have shallots, you can just add extra onion and some sliced onion as well. Pieces of sliced orange and a bit of sliced lemon. Then I've got a little bit of sage as well. Some of that's going to go inside the bird, but the rest of it can go down here as well. Now I want to make sure that I get crispy skin on the turkey. And so I'm going to use this wire rack to lift the turkey out of the liquid, out of the drippings that are going to come out of it as it's cooking. So I'm just going to place that like that. And I'm going to add a few more slices as well, purely because I don't want the skin sticking to this stainless steel rack. So you're going to lift your bird and place it on top like that. Make sure it's positioned so that everything fits in. We're going to tie that so it'll be okay. Now, before we put any more of these aromatics inside the turkey in the cavity, we're going to get that butter under the skin. I'm going to divide the butter into about 4 pieces. Use the larger ones for the breasts and then the smaller ones for the thighs. We're going to get that under the skin and we're going to spread it out evenly. So just like what you did with the marinade, you are going to shove it into place. The nice thing about this is, as you can see, there's that shape there with the butter. It's holding its shape well. So you'll easily be able to tell where you've spread it and where you haven't. And if you just massage it from the outside, you should be able to get it all the way to the edge and have a nice thick layer of butter all over the breast. And that is both sides done. So if you've got a little bit of extra butter, I mean, just rub a little bit on the inner cavity from this side and the inner cavity from the front as well. Then you just get the last little bits of aromatics and stuff those inside as well. Got some little bit of sage as well that I'm putting in. And then there's also a quartered onion. Don't want to be leaving this empty. Now all you need to do is tie up your bird. Our marinated, buttered and tied up turkey is ready for the oven. The only thing you've got to do now is figure out what you're going to use to know it's done. Now, a lot of turkeys come with these little pop-up timers. Don't use those. Those things are not sensitive enough and you're going to put it in one place like the breast and it's going to tell you the breast is cooked when it's way past cooked. Now, if you're the kind of person who buys a nice bird every year, I highly recommend you get a thermometer like this Typhus Sync Gold Dual. Let me show you how to use it. We've got 2 probes. We're going to insert one into the breast and one into the thigh, and you're going to be able to monitor them separately so that if one of them is cooking quicker than the other one, you can cover it up with a little bit of foil just to reduce the heat that it's experiencing. For the breast one, I am just going to go into the thickest part of the breast. All of this is the breast, so the thickest part is right in the middle here, and you got to go as deep as the line that's on the probe. Now for the thigh, it's pretty much the same thing, except you're going to try and find a thick part of the thigh, and you're going to push this through vertically to make sure it's in the thigh meat. The nice thing is that once I've put this in the oven, I'll grab the device, I'll say I'm cooking a turkey, and it will tell me when it's ready to take it out of the oven. One last thing before we put it in. We want the skin to brown nice and evenly, so I am just going to put on a thin layer of olive oil, coating the whole thing. Now that is a good looking bird. This is quite a large turkey, so I'm going to start it off covered and then I'll uncover it partway through. Ovens in the UK are quite small, so if I was to just put this in right now, it would be very close to the heating element, so it does have to be covered. Now I've got some special non-stick foil. If you haven't got any, you can put some baking paper underneath the foil if you're worried about the skin sticking, but because this is non-stick, I can just wrap it up. All right, let's finally get this in the oven. So it's in the oven, the thermometers are starting to track the temperature. I am going to get out my phone and use the Thyme app to set up alarms for the temperatures. On the first probe, I'm going to select poultry, turkey breast, and click that. It's recommending a temperature of 69 degrees. And I'm going to do the same thing for the second probe, and that's recommending a temperature of 77 degrees. It's going to track the temperatures, set alarms, and it will tell me when to take it out of the oven so that it has enough time to rest and reach the optimal temperature. With thermometers like this, you can guarantee that you'll have perfectly cooked breast and thigh in the same turkey. What's wicked about this is that it actually works even if you've wrapped the bird in foil. And you're not going to have to rush to the oven every now and then to check it and concentrate on other things, like if you've got sides to prepare. A device like this is an investment, but if you're buying expensive turkeys, you don't want to be ruining them by overcooking them. So if you or a loved one is responsible for your Thanksgiving or Christmas turkey, go ahead and grab yourself one. They're at their cheapest price of the year, and if you use the discount code MIDDLEEATS, you'll get an extra 10% off. Woo! So the bird's been in there for about an hour and maybe 10-20 minutes. I'm going to take the foil off though now and allow it to cook without the foil. Bit more heat, it's going to cook quicker now, and it's going to start to brown. So you can see there really isn't that much color on it now, though they'll have a nice golden shade. We're going to put that back in. It's going to cook until it looks good, though we may need to cover the breasts again just in case. So keep the foil that you had covering it, and if you need it, you'll use it. So that darkened a lot more than I was expecting. First though, I got to take these probes out. So I'm just going to leave this to rest for a little while longer, and then we'll come and we'll carve it up. Now I've got a container full of the turkey drippings. Now a lot of people make a stock first, and that's fine. You can make a stock, but most of the flavor for your gravy is going to be in here. Now to start off the gravy, we need to make a roux. So I'm going to use a measuring cup to pull off as much of this fat as possible and get it into the pan. Just trying to leave out those bits as well. So I'll turn the heat up to high, and then we're just going to let it come up to temperature. So it's sizzling, and I'm going to go in with a few tablespoons of flour. Now you kind of need to do this by eye. Let's see if that's enough. And then you're going to whisk it. So need more flour, definitely. I think that's enough flour. So I'm just going to keep whisking this, and you want to whisk it basically until the flour separates out of the fat again. I think it's cooking off the rawness of the flour, and also it's going to brown it a bit, give us a bit more flavor. And that's cooked enough so we can add in the turkey drippings. Now in here, I have got the shallots, some bits of fat from the turkey, but I'm not too bothered because we're just going to blend this with a stick blender anyway. And that's going to emulsify everything together, so we're not going to get any chunks in our gravy. That's thickened up as well. So now we can start adding in some stock. Now, if you want to use turkey stock, go ahead and make a turkey stock with the giblets and neck. This is just chicken stock, and it does a good enough job. I'm just going to incorporate a bit at a time, thin out the gravy, and then we'll continue to add more until we get to the texture that we want. We're getting there. Just a bit more water. I think I'll need about another 500 ml. Now that's nice and liquid, so we can go in with an immersion blender, and that's just going to break down any bits that were in the drippings we took out, and also if there's any clumps of flour. All right, that is really nicely blended. You can see it is silky smooth. You do have to test this though and see how it tastes for salt, so I think it's perfect. I don't need to add any salt to it. Easiest gravy you'll ever make. That is ready to go right on our delicious turkey. All right, this turkey has had plenty of time to rest, so I'm gonna carve it up and put it on a plate because I just realized I don't have any platters big enough for this. Look how moist this is. And that's the tip of the breast. That's usually the driest part. super juicy, soupy tender, perfectly cooked. I promised my friend Phil here a turkey, and this is his first try of it.
Oh, it's so moist. Listen to that skin.
It's like 10 p.m. Was it worth the wait?
Oh my God, so worth it. Oh.
So juicy, right?
That skin is amazing, dude. Let me go. Like, this is like the bottom area, right? So arguably, right, the dry bit, and this is just
so flavorful.
Yeah. This is amazing, man.
Good turkey?
Incredible. Leave me alone. I'm just gonna devour this. I'm done here. Like, this is amazing, dude.